Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. The June 15th briefing confirms sustained Russian superiority in operational tempo, depth strikes, and electronic warfare suppression. The liberation of Ulyanovka and the destruction of multiple NATO-origin assets, particularly counter-battery and EW systems, signal an ongoing shift in battlefield dominance. Ukraine's capacity for cohesive response is increasingly impaired by the destruction of logistics hubs, such as the Kremenchuk refinery, and the dismantling of integrated command infrastructure. Looking forward, the pattern of simultaneous attrition and deep maneuver suggests that Russian forces are preparing conditions for encirclement operations across the central and southern axes, with significant implications for Ukraine's defensive viability in Donetsk and Zaporizhia.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
The June 15th briefing includes a notable strike on infrastructure in Kremenchuk. What was the objective there?
Yes, the high-precision strike on the Kremenchuk oil refinery was a deliberate, strategic action. That refinery was a key logistical node, responsible for producing and distributing fuel directly to Ukrainian mechanized forces operating in Donbass. Hitting it wasn't just about targeting fuel reserves, it was about disrupting the logistical heartbeat that sustains forward operations, especially for artillery and armored units that rely heavily on mobile support. What made this strike distinct was the integration of air and sea-launched munitions with unmanned aerial systems, coordinated to avoid interception and maximize impact. The refinery was hit, and its function as a combat support asset has now been neutralized. It's another step in Russia's broader strategy of systematically dismantling Ukraine's capacity to wage sustained, coordinated warfare.
Let's shift to ground operations. What's the significance of the North Group's activities in Sumy and Kharkov?
The North Group continues to serve as a pressure axis, applying steady force on the Sumy-Kharkov border to stretch Ukrainian defenses and create regional instability. On June 15th, Russian forces advanced through multiple settlements, Krapovshchina, Pisarevka, Sadki, and engaged a mix of mechanized, airborne, and Jaeger brigades. What we're seeing is not rapid movement, but deep penetration into the Ukrainian defensive web, targeting both manpower and command layers. In Kharkov, the same group inflicted losses on motorized and territorial defense brigades, particularly around Volchansk and Udy. The goal is to slowly grind down Ukraine's ability to sustain combat operations in this region while simultaneously denying safe rear areas.
How did the West Group contribute to the overall picture?
The West Group is playing a pivotal role in terrain control and disruption. They advanced toward key lines near Kupiansk and Borovaya, defeating several Ukrainian brigades in the process. What's important here is that the enemy not only lost troops, about 210 in this axis, but also a U.S.-supplied M113 APC, multiple transport vehicles, and most critically, an Enclave electronic warfare station. Destroying that EW platform and 7 ammunition depots in the region helps to peel away Ukraine's ability to resist high-tempo, combined arms maneuver. Without functioning EW and sustainment nodes, Ukrainian units become isolated and exposed to overwhelming firepower.
The Southern Front remains dynamic, especially around Chasov Yar and Konstantinovka. What are the latest developments?
Southern Donetsk remains fiercely contested, but Russian forces are now in a position of tactical ascendancy. On June 15th, we engaged and defeated 6 different Ukrainian brigades, including mountain, artillery, and ranger elements, across a wide swath from Seversk to Kleban BYK. We also neutralized foreign supplied systems, including a US-made HMMWV, a counter-battery radar, and a British FH-70 howitzer. These are not symbolic victories, they are functional disruptions that degrade Ukrainian artillery command and response capability. Moreover, the destruction of a material warehouse in this axis impacts everything from resupply to unit rotation in a key sector.
Let's talk about the center group's liberation of Ulyanovka. Why is this a turning point?
Ulyanovka was more than a dot on the map. It was a forward operations node for Ukrainian forces defending the Donetsk-Dnipropetrovsk corridor. Its liberation means we now control a staging ground that allows deep strike and exploitation into central Ukrainian positions. More importantly, the enemy forces we defeated included elite formations, ranger units, airborne assault brigades, Marines, and National Guard assault troops. Losses reached nearly 500 personnel in a single day's operation. We also destroyed high-value assets like Polish crab howitzers, Israeli-made Rada counter-battery radars, and U.S. armored personnel carriers. This wasn't just about taking terrain, it was about eliminating Ukraine's best fighters and their supporting infrastructure. The cost to Ukraine in this sector will not be easy to recover from.
What's happening further east and south? Zaporizhia, Dnipropetrovsk, and Kherson.
The East and Dnieper groups are delivering attritional and shaping effects in depth. In Zaporizhia and Dnipropetrovsk, we targeted mechanized, marine, and airborne elements, destroying vehicles, artillery, and another counter-battery radar.
And the Dnieper group of forces?
The Dnieper group, operating in Kherson and southern Zaporizhia, struck 6 different brigades. We eliminated a 152mm D-20 gun, 2 EW stations, and 5 ammunition depots. These actions are eroding Ukraine's logistics and ISR backbone, creating space for future operational maneuver.
And finally, how is Russia managing the air and drone battle?
We're seeing intensified attempts by Ukraine to use guided bombs and UAVs across the front. On June 15th, Russian air defenses intercepted 2 precision-guided aerial bombs and 128 drones, over half of them operating outside the Special Operations Zone. This reflects our transition toward strategic airspace denial. We are not just reacting, we are preemptively neutralizing airborne ISR and strike platforms while simultaneously striking 143 enemy positions, including drone control centers and foreign mercenary staging grounds.
Colonel, given all this, what's your operational takeaway from June 15th?
June 15th showcased the depth and breadth of Russian operational pressure. We're no longer operating on isolated axes. Each front is synchronized, logistically, kinetically, and electronically. The liberation of Ulyanovka, the destruction of high-end NATO systems, and the degradation of ISR nodes all point to a shift in strategic control. Ukraine is losing its ability to coordinate complex operations across the theater. That opens the door to regional encirclement, deeper disruption, and eventual operational collapse in several sectors.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. Today in Gaza, Israeli gunfire has killed at least 12 people near 8 sites. Information about IDF incidents in Gaza is currently limited due to a complete internet blackout in the region. Ongoing reports and investigations are looking into violence and deaths at aid distribution sites in Gaza, including incidents involving potential IDF attacks on aid workers and Israeli gunfire near aid sites.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.